Victoria, COVID-19. Insane reaction to Melbourne's bars and restaurants reopening. Melburnians, desperate to head out for dinner and drinks after months in lockdown, could be bitterly disappointed over coming weeks. An article by Rohan Smith. On the 28th of October, 2020. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has announced the rollback of tough lockdown restrictions in the state. On the locked front door of Melbourne institution's Pellegrini's Espresso Bar, under the neon lights that did not glow, read the following message from management. Pellegrini's Espresso Bar would like to advise our valued customers that due to COVID-19 we are closed until further notice. That sign, which was attached to the door at 66 Burke Street for the entirety of Melbourne's lockdown, has today been lifted. For the first time in months, Melburnians are allowed to sit and talk with the Italian owners of one of the city's first real coffee shops, a place that has grown to mean so much more than espresso in recent years. Owner David Malaspina told news.com.au he was ecstatic to see his customers again, even if things were different now. That's a picture of David Malaspina at the window of the now open Pellegrini's in Melbourne. I've got a few happy faces in here this morning. It's wonderful to see their faces. It's hard to see the smiles before they take their masks off to sip their coffee, but it's wonderful. He can't have as many people inside as he'd like, and he's still waiting on deliveries of fruit and vegetables, but the kitchen is up and running again. He said the last 24 hours was chaos. Sanitize was the magic word. We cleaned everything. We ordered all our produce, and I'm still waiting on my orders, but I imagine deliveries are backed up today. We're a bit limited, but we're cooking bolognese sauce and Napoli sauce, so we're right for lunch. He said Burke Street was a ghost town over the last few months, and will take some time to return to normal. A lot of the offices were closed down. We're waiting for theatres to reopen, and for people to come back into town. But people need good coffees. At the Post Office Hotel in Coburg, the phones are running off the hook. Punters were so keen to get back in for a meal or a beer in the garden that they didn't even wait for the Premier to finish his announcement on Monday. Manager Tristan Jalles told news.com.au bookings for dinner have been reserved until the end of next week, and it's only Wednesday. He called the response insane. Midway through Daniel Andrews' announcement, the phone started lighting up and we were getting email requests. By 10:30 a.m. Tuesday morning, we had booked Thursday, Friday and Saturday dinner out completely. It was insane. Folks are champing at the bit to dive in. He said the venue, which can hold a capacity of 70 people, under Victoria's new dining rules, would open at different hours to make sure everybody gets a go. We're throwing open the gates from 3 p.m. for once-off drinks type thing today, before we get into the normal routine tomorrow. We'll also open earlier each day so people can come in on the way home from work and have a beer, and we'll stay open a bit later for the same reason, to accommodate everyone. It's the same story at the Stolberg in nearby Preston, where management told news.com.au they were booked out every night for the rest of the week. I'm not sure if you'd say it happened faster than you might think, or slower than you might think, but it was quick, a manager said. On the foreshore in Elwood, business is ramping up again. Pete Coutet, the general manager of Elwood Brothers, said staff survived on adrenaline on Tuesday to work 14-hour shifts getting the place ready for diners, and there are plenty. Yesterday was a very busy day. It's like doing a new restaurant. We've been trading for 7 months, takeaway only, so it was a long day. The phone didn't stop ringing. 2 phones were going off all the way down from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're booked out now for the next 3 weeks, and that's purely walk-ins. The establishment had 120 staff when they closed and had been operating with just 25. So yesterday they called those who were out of work and asked if they could come back. It's much needed help ahead of the first meal served in-house at 11:30 a.m. today, Mr. Coutet said. He was on board with plans to reopen responsibly with restrictions on the number of customers in the venue at any one time. You want to do the responsible thing. We want to make sure everyone's safety is paramount, he said. It's baby steps at the moment. We'll be making sure they're wearing face masks when they're not eating and drinking. We're just doing the best we can to make sure Victoria is safe for everybody. So as you read through this article, what I would like you to do, please, is to highlight the language features. I also want you to look at the text features. So choose to colour the text features in blue, or circle them, and explain what they are and what their purpose is. Then look at the language features. That's the vocabulary, the connotations, the use of repetition, similes, metaphors. Look at the choice of the vocabulary. What sort of connotation is it? Is it positive? Is it negative? And what is the writer's purpose as we go through this activity of unpacking the page? Now, the other thing I want you to think about is also the way that we can analyze the work. So, let's have a little look at the onion. Reading comprehending using a 4-level onion strategy. You need to ask yourself certain things. Think about the outer layer. What is the literal meaning of the words? What do the words actually say? What are we actually told? Make these dot points perhaps. What does the whole text seem to be saying? So what does that text tell us about Melbourne and Melbourne during COVID particularly? And their response to, finally, seeing that the restrictions are being reduced. The second layer is the inferential meaning. What else could the words mean? What's getting in the way of your understanding of those words? What else do I need to know to help me understand the meaning of this text? I think the fact that we are in Australia and we know how as Queenslanders we've responded to COVID, and the knowledge that Victoria has really struggled and has been in lockdown since March and it's now October, I think that we have an assumed knowledge that makes us more empathetic. So look at that a little bit further. What conclusions can I draw about the characters, the mood, and the tone of the writing? The third layer is the higher order inferential meaning. What is your reaction to that text? What feeling is the text creating in you? What do you notice about the writer's language choices, and what's the writer's purpose? And then we have the inner layer, the evaluation. What is the overall message of the text? What could an alternative interpretation of the text be? How does the message of the text relate to the world that you live in? Whose views and beliefs do the texts reflect? Or does the text reflect? And are there any links between the text and other texts? So you have the onion to help you. Remembering that you're going to be responding to this through annotation to begin with, you will then go on and write a paragraph. So, this is the homework for week 1 of Unit 3. I look forward to reading your work in OneNote, beneath the article and the onion.